Now I'm talking. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Empty Take, a reliable source for all of your eNASCAR news regarding eNASCAR Heat, the Peak Game Free Series, and much more. Thank you all so much for coming to the first episode of this podcast. Really blessed to be here with some incredible people. Let's go ahead and get these introductions going here. First co-host we got here next to me on my camera is none other than the driver for Wood Brothers Gaming. He is known as the Prodigy when it comes to eNASCAR Heat. Slade Gravett. Slade, how you doing, my man? Awesome. And the next guy, people know him as the People's Champ. This guy, he is the People's Champ. He is definitely one of the best streamers out there, and I've learned a lot from this guy, one of my biggest supporters. Rusty Walrus, how are you doing, my man? Hey, anytime, my man. And last but not least, I got one of my good friends who actually only lives a few hours away from me. Slade actually lives really close to me, too, but we'll get to that at a later point. None other than Jake Baskinger. Go Dogs! What's going on, Jake? How you doing? Absolutely, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for coming to the first episode. So let's get straight to the business here. We got our introductions down. So if you guys haven't been living under a rock and whatnot, NASCAR Heat 4 has officially launched Gold Edition wise for all those Gold Edition pre-orders, guys. And man, what a takeoff this game has had so far. From what I've heard, it's been nothing but solid, what's that word I'm looking for? Comments about just the gameplay, the online. Plate racing is back to what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be intense. The Canadian Tire jump is still there, so for all those Rusty fans out there, that Canadian Tire jump is still there. But this is all about eNASCAR and whatnot, so let's break it down to how this game is working right now when it comes to online multiplayer. And we'll go ahead and ask Slade first, Slade, because you and I compete every single Wednesday in the Pro League and whatnot. And we've already gotten a taste of NASCAR Heat 4. Yes, I mean, if you guys haven't known, the Pro League drivers had the game for a little bit just to get used to it, to build their cars, and to get everything all set it up. I'll go ahead and shut this music off, by the way. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so Slade, why don't you go ahead and tell us real quick your opinion. What do you think of NASCAR Heat 4 right now when it comes to esports for the future and how the online gameplay is going for you? Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one because just from the online racing so far that I've had in my streams and against you, everybody in the practice races and whatnot. What's going on, Jake? Are you muted? Wow, how about that? That's a bummer. It's all
Chat
good.
says they got you, but they can't hear the guest.
All right, cool.
Yeah, they can't hear the
All right,
guest.
we got it all figured out now. Give me 1 second here, guys. Sorry, first episode pilot. Some things are going to happen. No big deal. We got it all figured out now. Real quick, just want to introduce Slade. Say hi to the people.
Hi.
Rusty, say hi to the people.
Yo!
Jake, say hi to the people.
Woo, 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 woo.
And Joe. Hi! Okay, we're back now.
It works.
Everyone's
We're live.
But,
We're live.
Hey.
we just asked real quick, Slade, just give me a little quick rundown again. Slade, well, I'll say it. Slade was basically just saying about the online multiplayer, how it's definitely going to change the game when it comes to esports and just online multiplayer in general. So far, the racing is just a lot more cleaner. You're able to beat and bang off the cars and everything and actually race against people. It's really great. Rusty, you were streaming last night and everything. Tell me what you think so far about that online multiplayer.
It's so much better. The beat and the bang and the rubbing is racing. You can do like whatever you want to your competitor. Not anything, but you can literally have fun, not worry about making contact. It's just an absolute blast to go 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 or 5 wide at Talladega. Are you kidding me? This game is so much fun.
Yeah, and Jake, right to you, my man. I know you haven't played yet, but you've watched a lot of the streams and whatnot. What do you think so far?
Game looks phenomenal. Game looks great. I got a little bit of some time because I'm downloading the game. I was able to race around Charlotte for a little bit, just get a feel for it. It's definitely a whole lot different. Like before Charlotte, you could go full speed through the corners. Now you have to actually off the brake a little bit, actually drive the car. And that's what I really enjoy in a racing game. That's what I enjoy in F1 2019. That's what I enjoy in Project Cars 2. And I'm happy this is in this game this year. This is going to be fun.
Certainly, it's been a lot of fun for sure so far, and we're just getting started. The standard release hasn't even happened yet. You can still pre-order NASCAR Heat, by the way. Go to your local retailer, go to NASCARHeat.com, and pre-order your copy of NASCAR Heat 4 to race against us nearly every single night, because that's what we love to do every single night. But since we're talking about NASCAR Heat 4 when it comes to the online multiplayer, I believe it's something Slade and I definitely could have used when it came to Daytona on NASCAR Heat 3 in the Pro League and everything. A lot of beating and banging there, but it wasn't the same as you would see on NASCAR Heat 4. So why don't we go ahead and look at our results from Daytona for the PlayStation side. And as you look at these right here, you got Hot Rod in first, Fluffy with a really good second place finish for Roush Gaming. I believe that's Voltage in third. He had a really good run there. He's been really consistent as of late, so watch out for him. He's been really well. We got a solid fourth place finish there. We were in a big playoff hunt, and I had to get my job done, which we did. Mike RPM. RPM has not had the best of seasons. They get a solid fifth place finish. Slade, Mr. Consistency all season long. Even though he got caught up in that wreck, he still finishes sixth. Parker in seventh, the Bear in eighth, and Joe's for Hendrick Gaming in ninth, JRM Keffer rounding out the top 10, Kyle Arnold, who needed to come in and get a solid finish for Germain Gaming to solidify their playoff spot, did not have such a hot race. So this put the Xbox side in a little bit of a heated race because it was do or die because of that last playoff spot. DK Brown, the new gamer at Go Fast Gaming, in 12th. Penzo being caught up in that wreck, finishing in 13th. And Rowdy, with the terrible luck he has had as of late, JTG with that last place finish. So now we're back here. We'll talk about the PS4 side a little bit. I know Rusty and Jake, they know what happened. They're big supporters of the Pro League. They've been watching, and Slade was in the race. We've been in the race as well. So let's go ahead and start talking about what we thought about Daytona. Slade, you were in that race with me and everything. What were your thoughts of that race? I know it was really, really controversial and chaotic for what was going on for sure during on the track.
Yeah, most of the race was kind of unfortunate, to say the least. Most of the race was just saving fuel. I think you can attest to that, Joe. So a lot of the time, the front-running car, what he means by controversial is the front-running car, the second-place car, we're letting off a good bit to save gas, and it was checking the field, so we couldn't really get good runs. But the race overall, I mean, it was a good race. I think we had one caution on PS4. It might have been caution-free, other than the comp yellow. And the only wreck we had was on the final lap. Guys were getting aggressive and all that, which we understand. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't say the least. It's a great race.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race too. And I mean, when it comes to saving gas at a plate race, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it kind of gave me it made me think about the whole Greg Biffle winning the Pepsi 400 in 03 kind of vibe. Saving gas, trying to make it to the end and whatnot. But when you're racing in esports and everything, do you really want to see saving fuel at a plate race for the win? You want to see 2x2, 3 wide, going all out, making moves and everything. And I assume for the viewers like, Rusty and Jake and all that, I mean, you can kind of tell the pace was kind of slow. I mean, what were your thoughts on that, Rusty?
It was kind of frustrating to see everybody kind of run single file, especially in the first stage. But then I think that the chat was going nuts. Everybody's heart was just exploding when you and Fluffy were on the outside making the outside work. It's like, let's go. And that looked like it was going to shuffle up the order there kind of for the first time in the race. So that was kind of the highlight for me during the PlayStation race.
And Jake, what were your thoughts on that, my man?
It was definitely just single file. It reminded me like of an old ARCA race that everybody was just going single file, same field to the end. It was kind of hard to make moves, but hey, people were able to make moves just like you and Fluffy. But hey, it's all about the strategy. It's all about the racing. It's all about the process, and it's what people are willing to do to win at this series.
Absolutely, and winning, and I think Slade and I can both vouch, winning in the Pro League is not easy. Slade won Charlotte, he won that race and everything, but you can even ask him. He raced his heart out during that race because even one little bobble and he could have easily lost that race. And if you go back and actually watch the Charlotte race, I remember in turn 3, he hit the apron in 3 and 4 bit and moved up the track, and you can see him take this big sigh of relief because he thought he lost the race. And Slade right there,
yeah.
You saw him right there. He knew it. He knew it. I mean, I think you still think about that one a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, it comes to my mind a lot, thinking if I think Bear was behind me. I think he made a mistake too, trying to block 32 that race. So we got a little lucky on that. Yeah, it was.
Just he couldn't even finish his sentence right there. No. He was just like, whatever.
To think that I could have led every single lap and then lost it because they hit the apron, it's just, I don't want to think about that.
Well, you're good, man. You guys are in the playoffs and everything, which we'll get into in just a few moments. But now that we talked about the PlayStation side, let's head over to the Xbox results and see how the Xbox guys did. As you see right there, Stuart Haas Gaming, they swept the Daytona races. Great run by them. Yes, even though they saved fuel, they still dominated the races. JRM Dohar, we'll talk about him in a little bit when it comes to the Steam standings. He has been super consistent this season on the Xbox side. He finishes second, alongside with Shelby Power 22. He's been consistent as well. HD Motorsports in the 95, you know him for his custom setups on YouTube. He finishes fourth. And Diego, who has not had the best of seasons, had a solid top 5 Daytona. Great day for RPM with 2 top 5s. Jacob Kerr finishing 6th, solidified Jermaine's spot into the playoffs, and I had a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth after that Xbox race, but we'll talk about that later on. Mordog finishing, Wow That's Garbage finishing in 7th for Roush. Mordog in 8th. Go Fast Matt for Go Fast in 9th. The Bolt 18. He was in a solid spot to win the race, but unfortunately blew a tire coming out of turn number 4 and hit the wall, lost his chance to win. Casey, who is Slade's teammate, finishes 11th. Skirt Bush in 12th. Mr. Trackbar 33 for JTG in 13th. And the J-Mac attack, my teammate, unfortunately, caught up in a wreck and went to the back. And it was just not a good outing. And RCR, Hendrick, Richard Petty, and Chip Ganassi Gaming all did not make it to the playoffs. So now we talked about Xbox and everything, and the playoffs are kind of set after that race. It's kind of crazy to think about it. We're already here. We're at the playoffs. You know, it feels like just a couple weeks ago, Slay and I got drafted. Everybody was hyped up. You know, it was draft day and everything. And while we're talking about, yes, Slay just slashed the Wood Brothers shirt. I just saw that right there. But Slay, you know, we're heading to the playoffs now. And what are your thoughts, man? I mean, you guys are in, and just tell me how you're feeling right now about all of it.
It's been an incredible season, to say the least. I mean, you know me, Joe. I'm not a huge fan of the team points. To look that, we'll get to the driver points in a second. But we're sitting 7th. Got a good gap between us and 6th, so that's going to be a struggle to make up. And with a decent day at Las Vegas, we'll be on to round 2, that's my biggest focus, is getting to round 2. Round 3, it's going to be a struggle. Just because, like I said, we're, I think, 9 points behind JGR, and Voltage has been on a hot streak lately. And Bolt's always consistent. So, see if we can get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you guys are definitely in a good spot, and unfortunately, ERCR is not in the playoffs. We gave it everything we had, but we just couldn't make it there. But now, let's go ahead, since we're on the topic of Las Vegas now, let's go ahead and talk about Las Vegas, and we're going to go ahead and look into the team standings here. So take a good look at this, guys. So wrong team standings there. Make sure I get the right one. Oh, looks like somebody messed up. Oh, well, who cares? So we'll go over the team standings here real quick for you, because the weekly podcast guys have done it the best. They don't have any graphics or anything like that. So we'll just run it down here for you real quick here. And that's strike number 2 for me right there. I put everybody on mute, and I messed up when it came to putting the team points on there. So I'll get a bunch of hate for that later on. So that's not a big deal. But let's go ahead. We'll talk the team standings right here. My bad, MDK. Team Penske, Stuart Haas, and Roush Fenway are locked in. They are in the top 3. They locked themselves by points through Vegas, so they don't have to worry about what happens in Las Vegas. They are set. But the points don't reset, though, so they are going to go for the win no matter what. But they are safe to go to the next round. Then you got JR Motorsports in 4th, Levine Family Gaming in 5th, Gibbs in 6th, Wood Brothers Gaming, that's Slate's team, in 7th, and Go Fast Gaming in 8th. And the 2 bubble teams right now that are currently outside looking in is Jermaine Gaming and JTG Daughtry. So now that we kind of read those team points and everything, guys, this is going to be crazy. One race to make it into the next round of the playoffs and everything. And as we go ahead and look at what's coming up next year, because we got to make sure we get this all right. Yep. All right, perfect. So let's talk about Las Vegas here. This is a track that has multi-groove racing, and for all of you who have played NASCAR Heat 4 so far, have shown that the outside lane does work indeed on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Even the middle works as well. And the Pro League guys have been working really hard on their cars to make sure they are good to go for this race tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on eNASCAR.com and 704 NASCAR Heat on Twitch and Facebook. But what can we expect from this race? Because is it going to be the same kind of NASCAR Heat 3 where everyone's in a pack? Is it going to be more of just waiting and being patient? Let's dive right into it. Slade, what do you think is going to be happening with this race when it comes to Las Vegas?
It's going to be a very exciting race, to say the least. I have not seen any Xbox practice races, of course, but the PS4 practice races have been nothing but excellence. We've been 4-wide racing a couple of times, and 3-wide. I feel like almost every single green flag run, there's always a 3-wide moment. So it should be a fantastic race, though. It's for Heat 4. I mean, Heat 3 kind of felt the same, but Heat 4, I feel like if it comes like a 10-lap dash, anybody can win. If you're able to get a good track position, and all that track position is key, though. Got to point that out. It's gonna be a great race. You cannot miss this one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can miss this one either because just from all the practice we've done and everything, tires are super important here. In the long run, if you don't take care of that car, your car is going to go right up into that wall and you're going to have a hard time hanging on to the bottom. But it actually looks like you talked about that 4-wide racing and everything, that top side now is kind of the preferred groove. Because I remember when we started practicing for this race, it was the bottom groove that was the way to go because nobody wanted to try the top. And now it seems like everybody is focused on getting the top figured out because in the long run, that's where the car is going to handle the best. And I know one thing with viewers like Rusty and Jake who have been watching, they want to see this kind of racing where it comes to multi-groove and Highline, Rusty. So what are you expecting when it comes to Las Vegas?
From my minimal experience, the multi-groove racing it's going to be there. I can't wait to see, and especially with the best in the business doing it, the esports drivers being right on top of each other. But I'm really curious, as you kind of mentioned, the tire wear. That's going to be a massive factor in my opinion, because I know I'm short on that right front tire like every corner, but you guys I think are going to have a better grip on what's going out there. But if maybe some guys might have the short run speed, some guys might be set up for long run. I'm just curious, kind of the comers and goers throughout the run in general for this upcoming race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a race, as you just said. So because the way the tire wear works in this game, you think if you turn your wheel or you turn your analog stick all the way, the tires aren't going to wear. That's actually not true when it comes to this game. You got to set your car up the way to where you're not turning the wheel or the analog stick as much in the corner because that's what's going to burn the tire more. The more you turn, the more rubber is going to come off of that tire. So you have to build your car around that. And I feel like some of the guys in the Pro League got that nailed down. Some of the guys are still trying to figure out how can I get my car to not turn but turn at the same time because that's the tricky part. You have to. It's kind of like playing flip a coin. You got to go with what you got to go with, Jake. Jake, what are you expecting in this race? Because we've talked about the multi-groove racing, we talked about how it is in NASCAR Heat 4, but now since we're talking about the tire pressures, we're talking about the multi-groove racing, what do you expect? Do you expect more preserving? Do you expect more go hard at first and preserve? What do you think is going to happen tomorrow night?
What I think is going to happen is mainly just everybody's going to either go for it. Like, it's hard to tell because this is a whole new game, even though you guys got in practice at this game. But I expect, maybe just, some mistakes at the beginning, some cautions coming out right at the beginning, and then everybody's just going to, sort of get a feel. So maybe not so much, strategy is going to play into the factor, but it's going to be the first ever time that we're going to be seeing, what you've guys been practicing and, what this game is capable of doing. But I feel like if it's going to be, very much high groove driving, I can relate it to Homestead, where everybody's just, going down to the bottom trying to pull the slide job and try to get back right in front of the guys. So I feel like this is going to be a lot of important, just get out in front, get the track position, and hope that you're out in front in the lead at the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. You have to hold on to the lead here from what Slade and I have seen so far and what the viewers are going to see tomorrow. The leader is definitely going to have an advantage, but it's a lot more easier to make a mistake on this game than it is in NASCAR Heat 3. The driving is in your hands, not in the car. It's in your hands. So what you do is going to play a factor into how this race is going to come out. So now we'll kind of open it up for discussion a little bit when it comes to Las Vegas. So we'll just, instead of going A to B between us, let's just all talk about it here a little bit. About Las Vegas, about what we're going to see and everything. So we'll just kind of open it up with Slade, and whoever wants to say something, let's just go from there and have this open up discussion. Slade, tell me what do you think is going to happen with Vegas, as in the multi-groove, the tire wear, and just is it going to be aggressive? Is it going to be more preservative? What are you thinking, man?
I think you'll at the very start, excuse me, you'll see some people aggressive to get out front. First 3 laps, people are going to be making moves that you won't see later in the run. Everyone's trying to get the front, hold that lead, and also you will see people, most likely like myself, Just kind of stay mid-pack in the back, conserve that tire, and then when the last couple of laps run, making a push to the front because they've saved that tire and they have that build-up still. But yeah, you'll see a lot of people on the high groove. That's been the preferred line so far. And I feel like it conserves tire more, so I think that you might see more people at the top side just overall the entire run. But expect the bottom to be there for the first 3 or 5 laps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the bottom's definitely going to play a factor, but I don't think it's going to play a factor the first 3 or 5 laps of this run because, you know, if you're on that inside lane on the restart, you do have the preferred lane for maybe a lap, and that's it. And if you get that top side, I feel like if you want to get to that top, you need to get to that top if you have support from behind, because if everyone's still in the bottom and you go up to the top, you're not going to make it work. But if you do have a car behind you, from what I've seen so far and from what others have seen, if you have that little bit of a draft behind you, you're going to get a killer run down the back straightaway and everything, and it's going to set up for some just incredible passes through 3 and 4. You're going to see some 3 wide and 4 wide racing in this race because these cars can handle it now. You know, the 704 took away that ping pong effect. They even joke about it when they call it the ping pong effect because that's what the community called it. But it's cool to see that out of there. And it's just incredible. It's gonna be a fun race for sure. So now that we talked about Las Vegas and everything, let's actually talk about the teams. We talked about the standings and everything. We talked about the teams that are locked in. Penske, Roush, and I believe the other team, Slade, what was the other team?
Stewart-Haas.
Stewart-Haas was locked in. So now let's kind of talk about, we all got the stats and everything, so why don't we go ahead and actually look at the overall standings for the Xbox side. Let's talk about Xbox now and see what we got going on here. So as you look at your season stats after Daytona, these are the actual point standings for Xbox. You don't really get to see these on the broadcast, so we get to bring you these, which is incredible. Shout out to Slade and Jobs from Hendrick for making these work and putting the stats together, and MDK for putting this all together as well. So let's go ahead and look at this. Dohar is sitting at first. Remember I said he was super consistent, 296 points, 5 top 3s, 5 top 5s, and let alone that just means in general he's got to have 5 or more top 10s. The guy has just been on an absolute roll, as well with Shelby Power 22, known as Brian Tedeschi. Wow, that's garbage, has been great this year too, and Track Bar, but Track Bar has kind of been on a little bit of a slump lately, which we'll talk. Well, JTG in general, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Slick in 5th, Jacob Kerr in 6th, Bolt 7th, HD Motorsports in 8th, Go Fast Matt in 9th, Diego 10th, Moordog for Hendrick in 11th, J-Mac Attack in 12th, Casey, Slate's teammate, in 13th, and Skirt Bush in 14th. So as you look at those overall standings, you can kind of see who has had a really good season and who has been struggling. So now let's go back and talk about this since we got to look at the standings and everything. Again, graphics provided by MDK. Thank you so much for all the work you've done on this podcast. It's been fantastic. So let's go ahead and talk about this, guys. We saw the Xbox stands right there, and we can already see the names that stand out when it comes to being just consistent. They seem to just be getting the hang of these cars, but we're on a brand new game now. This is a brand new way to drive. We don't know what's going to happen, but from what I've seen so far, the stats don't lie. The stats don't lie of who's going to be good out there and who's going to get a better feel of their cars and everything. So let's go ahead and start out with Slade. Slade, what do you think when it comes to those Xbox standings? You know, what's the driver that kind of stands out to you, or the few, and you know, who do you think is the best team right now?
To me, how I look at the points, driver points, is if you are, for a driver, I think 280, I'll go 280 or 275 on up. You're having a really good year. So of course, stands out right there is Dohar 296. You have 295 Tedeschi, and then Track Bar and Garbage are in the low 280s. They've all had really good years. Dohar has yet to put it in victory lane, but he said, I want to say 3 second place finishes.
That's right.
3 or 4, 3 second place finishes. So he's been on a roll. Just has been the bridesmaid for several times, and Tedeschi was able to win at Shelby Power, was able to win at Charlotte in that Xbox race. So they both just been the powerhouses leading Xbox. And Track Bar was up there with them. I think after Indianapolis, he was up there with those two, and just has had a slump. Daytona, he was involved in a wreck, and there was no caution. And along with Garbage has also been consistent. I think he had one race where he finished 14th because he was not able to connect to the race, had internet problems. So if those two just didn't have a couple unfortunate weeks, they would be up there. But don't sleep on Jacob Kerr. He's probably my sleeper on Xbox. He's just been had a very consistent season. And that number 13 Geico Chevy Camaro, he's just been awesome.
I was just thinking about that too. Jacob Kerr to me has been like the most quiet driver this season.
Yeah.
When it comes just to stats, when it comes to just the public eye. He's just kind of that guy that's just like, I'm just gonna sit here and run top 6, top 7 every single week, and no one's gonna say a word. And that's the crazy thing. Rusty, by looking at those Xbox stands and everything, you know some of the Xbox guys. You've seen them before. You've associated with them. Tell me what you think of those Xbox standings, and who do you think the team is to beat right now heading into Las Vegas and the playoffs?
I think Slade really hit on the guys that I was going to hit on, but I think the one I'm really looking at is wow, that's garbage. He did miss that race with the issues, but I feel like he's qualified in the back of the pack almost. My memory says every race. So if he's had the ability to drive through the pack and finish up front, I feel like that ability to do that is going to translate over into Heat 4 because he has the aggression. He's able to keep it clean to get up there or whatever he's doing to get there. I think Garbage is the guy I'm keeping my eye on. Shelby Power's been super aggressive from what I've seen all year, but Stuart Haas Gaming they're kind of getting hot at the right time. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
Absolutely. You spoke great about wow, that's garbage. He is definitely he's quiet when it comes to being public, but man, when he's on that track, every time I watch the Xbox races, whether I am racing or whether I'm waiting for my race to come on right now, the guy's just amazing. I'm really good friends with Fluffy on and off the track, and he always tells me how grateful he is to have a teammate like him. They work really well together, and that's the reason why I feel like Roush is up there. They work really well together. They're both wheelmen. Fluffy and I before the Pro League, when we were doing the qualifiers and everything, we would help each other and be like, hey man, what'd you do for this or over here? And he'd show me. I try, and my car would just spin out in the middle of 1 and 2. I'm like, man, what are you doing? What happened to this car? He goes, oh, I'm fine with this thing, man. The guy's a wheelman. He loves to drive it on the edge like Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. But Roush in general is doing really well. Jake, when you look at those Xbox standings, we heard the names, wow, that's garbage. We heard Jacob Kerr. You look at those standings heading into Las Vegas, the team to beat, just in the playoffs in general, what guy you're looking at heading into Vegas to kind of hey, watch out for him.
I honestly like wow, that's garbage. He's a wheelhouse. He loves to do, but everybody that I'm looking at in the Xbox standings, like Dohar, Shell, wow, that's garbage, and Tracker, and I'll even throw in Slick in there. They're always up front. Every time I tune in to in a middle of a race, they're always up front. They love to be out in front, and they've been dominating most of the beginning parts of these races. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would say watch out for Shell Power. He is definitely going to be on a roll. But I would also pay attention to Dohar. He's hungry for a win. He's up there in points. He shows that he has the talent, but he needs to show the result that he can win in this series.
Yeah, he can definitely win this series. I've seen him run so well. He's got a lot of talent, but he also has talent as a barbershop quartet singer. One thing you didn't know about Dohar, the guy has vocals. He has vocals.
Don't sing his way to a win. There you go.
But hey, man, I'm just saying he's got a lot of talent, and he's a really good driver. JR Motorsports is lucky to have him for sure. He's a really smart guy when it comes to driving the car and learning how to put a good setup in. So now we talked about the Xbox points. Let's go ahead and look at the PS4 standings. And Slade's already smirking right here because he knows what his seasons look like. So let's go ahead and look at these standings right here. As you look at the PS4 standings, yes, you are reading that correctly right there. It is Slade at the top of the standings here. The guy's just had an incredible season. We'll admit it. I know he loves to talk about it a lot, but he surely has deserved it. The kid is on a roll. 2 wins, 5 top 3s, 6 top 5s, no polls. Something I can beat him at there, unfortunately. Then we got SHG Hot Rod in second. He's been on a roll lately. I believe it's 2 wins in the last 3 races, I believe, for Hot Rod. The Bear in third. He's had a great season. Fluffy sitting in fourth. Voltage sitting in fifth. He's been on a good little bit of momentum lately. Yours truly in sixth. We've had a good turnaround of events the past few races. We got Jobs in seventh. Pennzoil in eighth. Parker in ninth. Kyle Arnold, Jacob Kerr's teammate, sitting in 10th. JRM Keffer sitting in 11th. He had a really rough start of the season, but he's been starting to turn it up a little bit. He's been getting some solid results out of late. Mike RPM 44 has not had a good season. He is sitting 12th in the overall standings. Rowdy, who started the season out on such a good note. I believe he was 3rd or 4th in the standings after the first 2 races or so, and he's just been going down. Slade gave me the 5th right there. Appreciate that, buddy. He was 5th in the standings 2 races in, but now sitting 13th. And the new driver, DK Brown, sitting in 14th. So he is the new driver, so his points really aren't counting right now. But those are your overall PS4 standings heading into Las Vegas. and this is probably Slade's favorite topic of the night right here, the PS4 standings and whatnot. It's my favorite too. I mean, I'll admit, go PS4. I love the PS4 side and Xbox. You know, I'm a Sony guy growing up. But let's go ahead and talk about PS4 now as we're heading into Las Vegas. PS4 has had some great races, man. Xbox has been turning up lately, but it seems like the whole entire season that the PS4 side has just had some fantastic races. You've seen guys that usually run the back all of a sudden charge up to the front, then they have a bad week, then they come back up. It's very mixed up. It's very mixed up and everything. But you even saw, I believe it was like from 4th to 7th or 8th, and the points is separated by like 6 or 7 points. That's how close this field has been the entire season, and unfortunately, I'm in that battle. I don't like to be in that battle, but I mean, we're in it, so that's good. So Slade, let's go ahead and start out with you. You're on top of those standings right there, but team standings don't matter. But we're heading into Las Vegas and everything. Tell me, what team are you looking out for? You know, I guess we already talked about teams, but what driver, you know, are you kind of looking out for to kind of turn things around to help their team get into the playoffs after Vegas?
So for PS4, if I could break it down, not going to mention myself. Hot Rod was around a 7th, 8th, 6th place guy the first half of the season, and he just kicked it up. You see he's second on the list right now, so he's had a fantastic few races here. Bear has just been up there. I think he was the leader of the driver standings, and he's probably my guy to watch out for is the Bear. He's like I said, he's led the PS4 standings the first half of the season. Me and him went at it. If I keep an eye on somebody, I mean, also first mentioned Pennzoil. He's 8th. I think it's his lowest. He's just been, I mean, he's had a great season, but it's been kind of inconsistent, if you know what I mean, because he I think he got involved in a wreck at Chicago, which sent him back, but then he had a good Michigan, and then got wrecked at Daytona. So he's just been up and down. He was second in the PS4 standings. Voltage is another guy. He's on a hot streak. I think his lowest was around 10th or 11th. My camera just went off. Sorry. He was on 10th or 11th. Sorry, I got a battery notification. And he just worked his way up. He had a really good 3rd place finish at Michigan, along with a 3rd place, 3rd or 4th, 3rd at Daytona. So he's just been on a hot streak. My guy to watch out for. I already said Bear. Never mind. Getting ahead of myself.
The Bear, my man, he hugs like a bear, but he fights like a bear, man. That guy, he's a great guy on and off the track, but he is definitely a wheeler, man. He can definitely wheel that thing, and I should have had him at Chicago. We'll talk about that another day. That was a race I try to forget sometimes, but he's definitely one to watch out for. Rusty, heading to you, my man. PS4 standings. You know, it might be your favorite side. You know, a good amount of guys in that side a little bit, but it's been competitive, hasn't it? Who are you looking out for heading, like, team-wise, heading into Vegas for the PS4 side?
Yeah, I love a lot of the guys in the PS4 side. I have PS4, so I race with a lot of them. But I mean, just look at the top of the board with Slade, Hot Rod, the Bear, Fluffy, Voltage, Sloppy, Jobs. Like, I mean, they're all phenomenal drivers. The guy I'm kind of looking at is the guy Slade was looking at. The Bear might be the man to beat. He's got the aggression. He's kind of, it's the start of the season. He was a little bit of a, I don't know what you'd call a rival of some of the other guys in the series. He was kind of the bad guy. So I kind of like that type of aggression to carry forward here in Heat 4 and at Las Vegas. But I can't, like, you guys have your eyes on them. You raced with them in the practice. You guys kind of know who might have some secret speed to get it done. But I mean, why? I mean, Slade, baby, look at his stats. Look, it's tough to go against him.
It's hard to go against Slade, man. You know, we talked about, hey, man, you know, we're both having good seasons, but let's not talk about us a little bit. But yeah, Slade's definitely there. He's popping out the Wood Brothers shirt now. You know, look at this guy. Look at this man now. Look at him now. He pops out the Wood Brothers shirt.
This guy.
This guy just has to show the Wood Brothers.
Guy.
You had some big news today, though, man. Matty D heading to Wood Brothers, though, man. Are you pumped about that?
I'm very pumped. I mean, I don't want to sound like I didn't like Paul. Paul was a great guy. I met him in Phoenix. I actually talked to him a little about esports. He's actually very interested. He's actually on iRacing a good bit. So, he's overall a great guy. I mean, I really don't know if I've ever. I mean, I know I just got Jedward Woodward here, but Paul's been a guy that, I mean, he's not been one of my favorite guys, but he's always been the guy I would like to cheer for because he's quiet, doesn't really say anything, and then he just goes out and shows off his skill on the track. So, hope Paul's future is amazing and wish him nothing but the best. But to have Matty D on your team next year is pretty cool. Nonetheless, so I'm excited though. Nonetheless, if I get re-signed by John, that's
I think you'll be okay. No, but Matty D's a great person, man. You know, he's definitely Rusty's the people's champ on YouTube. Matty D, I feel like, is the people's champ in NASCAR right now, man. Everyone's rooting for the guy, and I think we're all happy for him. Whether I'm on a different race team than the guy, I'm happy for him. You gotta be happy for a guy who truly deserves a shot. Let's go to Jake though. Jake, you know, we saw the PS4 standings and everything. What do you think heading in there? What driver kind of stands out to you right now heading into Vegas?
I'm just gonna start out real quick and just say, like, there's a lot of pressure on some of the guys that are like up in front that like maybe their teammates aren't still working so well, because like you said, the points don't matter in like what we've looked at through PS4 or through Xbox. It's the overall standings. So if we look at it, like, we got Slade up on top, his teammate is all the way down in 13th and doesn't even have a top 5. You got the Bear, who's running great up there in 3rd, and then his teammates all the way down in 8th. Like, you got like a little bit of like some pressure going on with some of these guys who are like up in front. Like, they have to put the results up, and they have to put everything they have to put everything on their plate. But you also have the guys who are like a little bit lagging behind their teammates, who need to show up, who need to put out results and actually be able to show that like they can win this championship. Because you see it with Penske, they already are locked in. You have Stuart Haas are locked in. You have Ross Fenway who are locked in. Those guys have everybody up in front. But if we're gonna stick with like this PS4 guys, you got the Bear, who's just been racing phenomenally. I kind of relate him back to Kyle Busch a little bit, because he's a little bit of a rival guy. He's a little bit of like, he'll punch you out of the way. But I'll also say, like, Fluffy, like, I've raced around with him like a bunch of times. Me and him know each other. He's a phenomenal racer. He can put up the results. He needs a win in this series. He's come so close every time. But I feel like he can actually show off a little bit here in the playoffs. I don't know how he's been doing in the new game, but I feel like he'll be right up there, right with the guys as well as Sloppy. I got to give you some credit. He'll be out there. Slade, you'll be out there. I gotta admit, you guys will definitely be out there, because the amount of times that you guys talk about this game, you guys are gonna race phenomenal. As well as Jobs. Jobs, a little funny thing about Jobs. Me and him were in the public lobby together. I noticed him behind me. I just blew up the track. I can't race with him. I'm terrible at racing on these games. I think it's just like incredible, like how these guys race with the community, and it's just like, you know how these guys race, especially on the PS4 side. Like, you see everything going around, and yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be close coming down to the end of this race.
It's gonna be close for sure. Thanks for that little shout out there. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, but there's a lot of guys that are gonna be good in this Las Vegas race from what we've seen so far. You know, there's not a favorite. There isn't. There's never a favorite in these races. You don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, these races come down to the last 5 laps. It seems like no matter what. I mean, there's only 1 or 2 races I could think of where the winner was already decided, like 10 laps before the race ended, or 15. But it's going to be great. So real quick, we're going to head to our next topic in just a second. But I want to go say, again, thank you everyone who's tuned into the podcast so far, the first episode. I haven't seen the chat. I haven't seen any people are watching. But regardless who is out there watching, we can't thank you enough for watching. It's been a lot of fun so far. So real quick, to say thank you to all of you, we're going to pick a random topic from the chat. So go ahead in the chat right now. It has to be eNASCAR related or eNASCAR heat related. Put your question in the chat as a topic for us to discuss for a few minutes, and we could pick you as the lucky winner to talk about your topic. I don't have the chat with me. Is anyone in the podcast right now have the chat with them right now?
Yep, I got the Twitch chat up.
Okay, Rusty, I'll leave it to you, my man. Let's give it about 5 minutes, and we'll pick a lucky winner. How about that?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our next topic real quick here. We noticed how we talked about Track Bar and Rowdy on JTG a little bit. We talked about their overall standing so far, what's going on. What happened to them? Because I remember Slade, you remember Slade, at the beginning of the year, man, these guys were championship favorites right off the bat. Track Bar is a really great driver. Rowdy is a really great driver. But Rowdy is 13th on the PS4 standings. Track Bar's 4th, and he was like 1st or 2nd a little while back, but he's been on a slump. And now these guys are the bubble team. They're 9th. No one expected this. Everyone thought they'd be top 4, top 3 right now in the standings heading into Vegas and everything. 10th. Thank you, Slade. I see the little fingers right there. Thank you.
Statistician here.
Statistician. Yeah, right. So let's go at Slade. What's going on with this team? Can they rebound? What do they need to do at Las Vegas to rebound right and put themselves back into the playoff hunt for a championship?
I mean, it's what I hate about PS4 is it's so competitive. I don't hate it actually. I love it. It's so competitive. I just said that wrong. But like for a guy like Rowdy is known as one of the best short track racers on the Heat games. I mean, that's what he's known for. He's a very good racer in everything, but he's known as one of the best short track racers. As the only short track we went to, Bristol, he finished P3, and possibly could have won the race. He had a little contact with the first place, I believe, Hot Rod on the final lap, and it sent him back because it worked his way to third. But he's just been very unlucky. I mean, I can't say enough how unlucky this guy's been. Chicago running, I want to say fourth position, fifth position, just battling and gets wrecked, goes back and finishes 13th. Then we go to, I want to say Daytona. He had some unlucky moments before that, but we go to Daytona. And, sorry, Indy. We'll go to Indy. Indy, he was involved in that huge wreck. No, none of his fault. Finished 13th, I want to say. And then we go to Michigan. He felt bad strategy, finished 13th, and then got like lag wrecked. I believe there was the one lag spike, of course, during the PS4 race in the back, and it happened to Rowdy, and he finished, I think, 14th. So, I mean, he's just been the guy of bad luck. People think, just look at these PS4 standings and like, oh, the guys in 10th on back are just not good. That's just not true. He's sitting 13th. A very good driver, nonetheless. We're so competitive. He's just been so unlucky. And Track Bar has had a couple of unlucky weeks past 2 weeks. So involved in that, especially that wreck last week, it took out your teammate and my teammate Sloppy. And no caution was thrown, but it's been unlucky. And they're gonna have to grind. It's gonna be very tough for them to make it. I want to say they're 16 behind us, Wood Brothers, in 7th.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
So they've got a lot of work to do. I think if they both finish top 5, there's a chance, which they're very capable of doing. So I wouldn't say count them out yet, but we'll see.
For sure. And Rusty, let's head that to you right there. JTG was a very consistent team at the beginning, and they've been kind of falling off. Do you agree with Slade right there? Do you have anything different to say about that team or what's going on?
I've been trying to keep my eye on so many of these guys in general. It's more of my energy and focus has been invested into people like you, Fluffy, the guys that I know and race with. So I do see the issues with JTD. Just kind of. So I sometimes it's like out of their hands. Sometimes it is. I'm not too intimate with their racing on the track, but I'm going to lean on you guys for that one.
For sure. Jake, I know you've watched a little bit. You've seen JTG, how, beginning of the year, they were talked about all the time. They were up in the front, first, second, third. What do you have to say with what Slate said there about the luck and what they have to do heading into Vegas?
I mean, that's really what I'm just going to go back to NASCAR Heat 3 on this, because it seems like NASCAR Heat 3, whenever you raced on there, even like in any league, any sort of like private lobby, you have to have a little bit of some luck at this game. You had to have like at least the right strategy, at least the right calls. You had to have the right track position so you didn't get involved in the wrecks. So it's kind of that factor of you need to show up the results a little bit, but at the same time, gotta have the same amount of luck. Like you have to even that out, have the right middle ground for the luck within like you racing. So it's hard to tell like what happened to Rowdy versus like what Tracker was doing, but I mean, overall, like they have to show up, both of them, no matter what. They have to show up here in the playoffs.
For sure, yeah, for sure. And if there's a team that I feel like out of all those teams that can rebound and make it, it's JTG. Track Bar every single week. He's either on the pole or starting second or third. He's been on a roll. Speaking of qualifying, guys, you can see the qualifying results right below here on the Empty Tank grid presented by MDK. Again, MDK, thank you for all your help on the podcast. It's really appreciated, and I know I'm missing a few things here. It's the first episode, but we'll get it all straightened out. But yeah, my man, thank you for all the help. But you can see the starting grid right down there for PS4 and Xbox tomorrow at 8 Eastern on eNASCAR.com and 704 NASCAR Heat on Facebook and Twitch. That's where you can catch the race. Xbox is first, PS4 is second. But let's go ahead to our fan choice topic. Presented by, I guess Rusty's going to be looking at. Rusty, who is the lucky winner for the topic question?
We are going to go with Trevor Sports 98 on Twitch. He has a couple questions, but the one I'm going to pull here is basically kind of what we already touched on. But is there a driver? I'm going to ask both of you guys, Sloppy and, well, I guess the whole panel here. Is there a driver or two drivers, either through on-track performance or even in practice, especially with Heat 4, that you really are keen in on for maybe more consistent finishes in Heat 4, or maybe that they're performing a lot better than what we've seen the results on the track?
Yeah, Slade, I'll let you go first on this one, buddy.
All right, so for all we've done is Vegas. So we have no idea if people are going to drive short tracks, road courses, etc. But for Vegas, I gotta go with. So it's weird. So it feels like I don't know. It feels like if you get out front and you have a good car, you can just leave. But then if you don't, you can keep the pack at bay. I gotta go with Bear. Bear has probably been the most consistent in our practice races. Just being up front, he knows how to work that top side. That's if he's on that top side, you're going to be gaining a lot of spots following him. You gotta add Fluffy. Fluffy's also been very consistent these practice races, and I'll save my other guy for our later in the show.
Okay. Yeah, for me, from all the practice races he hit it on, Fluffy's been really good. When I race against him, Bear's been really consistent. His car is definitely built for the top side. So if he gets on that top side, you better have your car running there too, otherwise he's going to pass you. But the two guys I'm looking out for, Parker. I'm going to say Parker here because when you look at the qualifying, he actually had a really solid result. And from what I've seen so far and everything, he's had some pretty solid practice races. So I'll watch out for Parker or CJR. I mean, they're not in the playoffs, but I could see them being a little bit more consistent, heading into Las Vegas on the 1.5 miles. Like Slate said, we've only done really 1.5 miles. We had a few practice setups at different places and whatnot. But Vegas has been the one we've been focused on the most. And I got Parker there. Maybe a second guy that may be really good. I'm just gonna say Pennzoil too. I'm going to say Pennzoil. He looks like his car is definitely built for the long run from what I've seen so far. He definitely likes to take it easy at the beginning of the run, but as the run continues, he has that car set up for the tire pressures to really save a lot rather than the other cars, and he likes to move up to the front near the end of the races and all that. So I'm going to watch out for Pennzoil and Parker tomorrow as those two guys that are definitely going to be different forces and whatnot. And Jake, I'll go ahead and ask you, man. Two guys on PS4, and did we talk? Was it just PS4 or Xbox, Rusty?
It was kind of a question in general about just the guys in the series.
Okay, I mean, I'll pick one PS4. I would say Parker definitely. I think will improve tomorrow, and I could definitely see. I'm gonna go with Jacob Kerr. I'll go Jacob Kerr on Xbox right there to watch out for him. But Jake, who you thinking, man?
Kind of surprised you're picking Parker after what he posted on Twitter about you.
That's in the past. That's in the past. All right. I'm just gonna take a sip of this orange vanilla Coke and
gotta rub that on you a little bit. But I say like somebody to watch out for on PS4 side, like somebody that's been always got like a lot of airtime. Like at the beginning of the season was Kyle Arnold. Like he showed a lot of promise. Like he didn't have that much luck. I mean, he got camera time for like the wrong reasons, but he kind of shows that he's very consistent. He could be up there at the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if like he shows off a little bit in the new game here. So watch out for him for a little bit. On the Xbox side, I say watch out for HD Motorsports. He's usually like he comes out with like the new design, like not the new design, the new setup, I should say. And he, like whenever the new game comes out, he finds the best setups. He finds the new setups. He shows off like how fast he can run them. So I say watch out for him in the new game here.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Those are definitely going to be guys that sorry, I was trying to look for something there. But yeah, those guys are definitely going to be ones to look out for and everything. Trevor Sports 98, thank you for that question. We'll be doing that every episode to kind of get that fan interaction going. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast so far. And again, this is the first episode, so if we got any little errors like I did earlier, which we're not going to talk about, we'll fix those for episode 2 on forward. All right, guys, so we're kind of getting to the end of that show already. It's already been nearly an hour. That's crazy. We've just been chatting along about esports and everything. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. So now it's time for the picks. It's time for our picks. So the way this is going to work, we are going to start with Xbox and the PS4. You need to pick a winner, a sleeper, and a tanker. Get it? Props to Slade on that one. He's smiling right now. He pointed right there. That guy's got the brains. Empty tanker. So tanker just means the guy who you think's not going to have the best run. So let's go from left to right this time. Jake, we're going to start with Xbox for you. Your Xbox winner, sleeper, and tanker.
Winner, I'm going to say Show V Power. He shows off a little bit. He does his job. He always comes out surprises you. So I say he's going to be your winner. Sleeper, I would say Diego DD18. Like, we haven't talked so much about him. Like, he's very active in the community. He does like all work for the like the home track series, especially at Irwindale Speedway. I would say keep him in mind as a sleeper a little bit, and then the tanker, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have to say Slick. Like, I don't know how he's gonna be. I don't know what he's gonna be. I just had to pick somebody who's gonna be a tank. But overall, like, I don't think I'm just gonna say this. I feel like Stuart Haas Gaming might not be as good in this game as they were in the last game. That's just my thing. That's just my theory. I feel like they're gonna start to tank a little bit. So it's a bold statement, but I feel like it's gonna happen.
That's a really bold statement. I like it. I mean, I hope to not see that. I want to see everyone do good, but someone's got to finish 14th and someone's got to finish first. So if that happens, I know their PR guy. I know their social media guy. He's always on the camera. He'll come after you, man. After that statement.
He's gonna hate me. I'm gonna lose a subscriber. Oh no.
Oh boy. Rusty, let's head to you. Winner, sleeper, and tanker for Xbox.
I'm going to stick with what I've been saying the whole show. Winner, I'm going with Wow, That's Garbage. I think he's the guy to beat. He's unbelievable. My sleeper pick, I'm actually going to go with Go Fast Matt. I don't know what's been going. For some reason, the name pops up on the leaderboard in my mind. I don't know why. I feel like he's a sleeper. He does have the one win, 2 top 3s, 2 5, or those are the 2 top 5s. But I'm also going with SHG Slick as the tanker. Those guys are so cocky with the helmet on, with not showing the face. Yeah, I feel like that's going to catch up to him in Heat 4. So Slick, you're out of here, buddy.
Wow. That's the reason why I say I don't like them. They come out with their helmets on. It's like you're playing a video game.
Oh man. Slade and I have no comment. We are not saying anything. That is these two right here. It's these two right here. Slade, winner, sleeper, and tanker for Xbox. Choose wisely.
I just forgot my picks after that comment. So I'm also, I think Rusty said it. I'm gonna go with Wild Garbage as your winner. He's shown the most speed, most consistency out of Xbox. I think he gets it done. My sleeper, I'm going to go with. I mean, that's kind of a hard one because I'm not really Xbox guys. It could go either way. Come on. Sorry.
Bad phone thing.
We're fine. Sorry, I'm at 10% battery.
Playing on the budget.
Yeah, I'm gonna go my sleeper. I'm gonna go with Jacob Kerr. He's, like I said earlier in the show, very quiet guy. Reminds me of Paul Menard. Very quiet guy. Just kind of keeps his head down in races. So I expect him to do well. My tanker, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go not Wild Garbage. He's my pick. I'm gonna go with Mr. Trackbar. The guy has been super cocky about Heat 4.
Oh no!
I'm sorry, he has been. And I'm a believer in karma. I'd like to keep my mouth shut and just race. As you know, I kind of bragged about my Charlotte win and what happened the next week. I got wrecked at the Auto Club and finished 12th. So I'm a believer of good and bad karma. So I feel like it's going to catch up to him. So that's my guy. I got to go with Wild Scar. Sorry, I keep thinking same one. Mr. Trackbar as my tanker.
Wow. Okay, these are some good ones so far. Again, if any Pro League drivers are watching, please don't take any of this to heart. It's literally just
take it to heart.
Don't take it to heart. We got
this is entertainment.
Me and Rusty are novice watchers.
We're bringing the content. We're bringing the content right now. Content. My winner for Xbox. I think he's finally gonna get it done. I'm gonna go with Dohart. I think Dohart is due for a win. He's had 3 runner-up finishes. He's been super consistent. I think he could have won Daytona if all that fuel stuff didn't happen. He's a really good plate racer. I got Dohart as my winner for Las Vegas. A sleeper. I know, man, the sleepers are always the toughest ones to me because there's so many guys that can be mixed up with that one. For a sleeper, I'm gonna go with the Bolt. I'm gonna go with the Bolt from Gibbs. He's young. He's got talent. Daytona, he had a shot to win, but he had some unfortunate luck on his side. And he's been fast. He's been top 5 up in there for most of the races and everything. I'm going to go with the Bolt as my sleeper for Las Vegas. But as my tanker, Slade, please don't hate me. I have to go with Casey. I gotta go with Casey from Wood Brothers, and the only reason why I say that is because he just hasn't had that good of a season. I don't know how he is on Heat 4. Now, he did say He did say on Heat 4 that he was going to turn it up and he was going to do some good stuff on 4. So I hope that turns around for you guys, especially to make the playoffs. But I'm just gonna go KC with my tanker right there. I hope it doesn't happen. But that's just my estimated pick and everything. Eventually, we're gonna start doing some fantasy standings between the hosts and everything. That'd be cool to do kind of like a standings thing for fantasy and all that stuff. All right, now it's time for the PS4 picks. This one's gonna be hard. I feel like there's a lot more when it comes to the winner and sleepers and whatnot. Going from Jake again. Jake, your winner, sleeper, and tanker on PlayStation.
Well, of course, if I can't pick Slade or Sloppy because they're the greatest drivers of all time.
Oh my god!
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll have to go with Fluffy. I know how he races. I know his demeanor. He's kind of a quiet guy. I gotta go with him as the race winner. Tanker, I gotta go with your boy Parker over there.
Ooh.
Honestly, Honestly, I never liked him when he posted that tweet.
Geez.
Honestly. No, I mean, like, I do like the attitude because he's the one that caused that crash, all right? I'm proving that right now. But I say, what did I say he's a sleeper?
He said that tanker.
Tanker, yeah, no, he's the tanker. And now I gotta pick a sleeper. Jobs. I'm gonna pick Jobs over there. I know how I mean, I had to pull over from on the racetrack. I know if he travels through the field, I feel like he's gonna be somebody that's gonna be just quietly coming through the field, coming up through the pack, and could actually do something for the win there.
Good picks there for sure. I like the Jobs sleeper pick. Jobs has shown that he's got potential to get some wins and get some really good finishes and everything. And I think he's got a good chance at possibly getting a win tomorrow at Las Vegas. I think it's gonna be good. Rusty, on to you, my man. The PS4 side. Who you got?
You know, I was debating between my winner and sleeper because I think my sleeper might win the race, but I'll give you my winner right off the bat. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to go with the Bear. I just feel like the Bear is the guy to beat. Until I see something different in Heat 4, I'm picking the Bear to win. But my sleeper, and this is no bias, this is real because I race with this guy every day. I'm going with Sloppy Joe himself, the man on the host here. I think Sloppy, he wins like every public lobby. I think Sloppy has to be your sleeper. He hasn't won yet, so that's not me being crazy as a sleeper pick, but he's been up there. He's just been kind of taken out, and I think that's his skill. Nobody works harder than Sloppy. It's going to translate in Heat 4. But as far as my tanker, I'm going to once again back this up from my Xbox guys. I'm going with SHG Hot Rod as the tanker because Jake said it perfectly earlier. Just because you're fast in Heat 3 doesn't mean you can be fast in Heat 4. And maybe he's just gonna, I don't know. And he's got the helmet on, so get him out of there.
I mean, I always wish we could wear helmets and race in real life, but we're on a game, man. You know, we ain't the real race car drivers, but technically by NASCAR's definition, we are drivers. So I mean, I'll take that any day of the year. Slade, it's on to you, my brother. Who you got for your winner, sleeper, and taker? Now be careful because just letting you know. We probably got a PS4 party later on tonight, so just be careful of what you do right
That's
here.
That's fine. Okay, so I kind of hate how Rusty's performance keeps picking my guys, but I'm gonna go with Bear as the winner. He's been, I want to say he's been the overall favorite in our races. Very strong car, and he knows how to get it done. Sleeper, I kind of forgot my sleeper pick. Sleeper, I'm going to go with Parker. Actually, I think Jake voted him as his tanker. Parker. If there's one thing I can say, if this makes sense, some things in iRacing can correlate with the setups in Heat 4.
It's very true.
As I've learned that. And Parker being a former iRacing guy, I think he gets it done. He's, I think, 9th or 10th in the PS4 standings. He's had an okay year. Started off not so good. I think he's going to do well here. And my tanker, I might be biased because this dude's kind of guided me about 10 times in our practice race. I got him to go with Kyle Arnold 13.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his car just does not look that great. He's had, like I said, an okay year. And this at our biggest practice, he showed some speed, but overall he just has not been the best. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Arnold for my tanker.
Okay, good. Some good picks there. All right, my winner for this race. I gotta go with my brother. I gotta go with Fluffy. I think Fluffy deserves that win. He is fast every single week. Every time I'm right up there in the top 3 or 4, he's either right behind me or he's right in front of me. He's right there. It's only a matter of time when this guy scores his first win. he's just a guy I see that can be in the pro league for years, man. He's got the speed, he's got the personality, he's such a nice guy on and off the track. He deserves a win. I got him as my winner. My sleeper for this race, Mike RPM. And I'm going to say Mike RPM because now granted, in these practice races, from I know what Slade and I can say, he's been very aggressive in these practice races. I know some people are kind of like, Mike, what are you doing and everything? He's like me. This guy's not in the playoffs. He's racing. He could be racing for his ride. You never know. We don't know what's going to happen with season 2. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. He's trying to show out there, I deserve to be here every single year in one of these seats racing right now. He wants to go for it, but, you know, if you don't get into him, he'll race you good. He'll race you clean and everything and all that, but he's one of those he-at-the-moment guys. You know, if you get into him, if you accidentally block him because you hit the wall and get loose out of 4, I'm definitely not saying this because this did not happen the other night. Totally did not happen. And then put me in the wall. Nah, I got him as my sleeper. He's been fast. He works with Bear a lot. You know, they race well with each other, and he's been fast. I got him as my sleeper. He could get his first win of the season. My tanker for this race, and this is just from what I've seen so far, I'm going to go with Voltage. I love TJ. I love him, man. But from what I've seen in some of these practice races, man, the car's just not that good on the long run. And maybe it's just because I haven't raced with him in a practice race in a couple days or so. Hopefully he got it fixed up. But I got him as my tanker right now because I just haven't seen that overall long speed. I've seen him hit the wall, get loose and everything. So, yeah. But, guys, those are all the picks, man. Really good picks in general. I mean, we don't know who's going to win this race and everything. I feel like this is going to be one of the best races you'll ever see of eNASCAR and everything. One quick note, I know we didn't get to talk about Peak Antifreeze Series, and that's because they were actually racing tonight. So I didn't want to start the show and then race tonight and everything. So we may see Empty Tank kind of change the date when it comes to the podcast and everything. We may do it a day after or a day or two after the Pro League so we can talk about both Peak and Heat. So apologies to all the iRacing fans that didn't get to hear about Peak Antifreeze. We'll get to that. Evan, if you're watching, brother, we got you, man. We're going to talk about Peak Antifreeze. I know that, man, because they are definitely setting the bar and doing some great things over there. Congrats to them for getting on NBC Sports as well with the races, man. That was
Speaking of them, actually, right now, they're actually live right on their YouTube channel and on Twitch. So make sure right after this podcast, you guys go head over and watch these people compete around Indy.
Absolutely. They're in the playoffs right now, too. I got to root for my boy Blake Reynolds for Team Dillon, a.k.a. that's RCR. He had a rough week at Darlington, and he's 8th in the playoff standings now. But, man, this guy won the regular season championship with no wins and only led 4 laps the entire season. He's Mr. Consistency.
Michael Conti got me complacent if he's my favorite driver now or is it Garrett Lowe. I mean, I gotta decide here.
We'll be talking about it more, man. But yeah, guys, that's our first episode of Empty Tank. I know we didn't have any guests or anything, but I promise you guys we have some really awesome people coming on the show later on. I was just talking to some people a couple hours before the show. They say they are down to be on. They can't wait to be part of this. So we got some exciting things coming up, guys. Make sure to follow us on social media and everything. We'll go just take a quick round. We'll just do Twitter real quick and everything. Jake, where can they find you on Twitter?
So my Twitter is @jbaskinger41. It's just my first letter of my first name, last name, number 41.
Rusty, where can they find you, my man?
I'll make it easy on all socials. It's Rusty_Walrus. So Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everything. Rusty Walrus. That's me, baby.
And Slay, what about you, Mr. Spin?
Why am I Mr. Spin?
Because
Why do we have to go?
You got to support your sponsor here.
You got to
Ride spin here, guys. Always ride spin. On Twitter @Slade_G84 and on Instagram @Slade_Grave21.
All right, and you guys know where to find me and everything. I mean, I'm hosting this thing for crying out loud. I hope you guys can find me on YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. It's just sloppy_Joe_YT on Twitter, Instagram Joey_Stone_3. But you guys know where to find me and everything. But guys, that's it. That's our first episode of Empty Tank. Thank you so much to everybody who came on board for the first episode. Shout out to our co-hosts Jake Baskinger, Rusty Walrus, and Slade Gravett. We showed them one more time right there for the last time of the show for the first episode. This is Sloppy Joe signing out, guys. Remember to stay sloppy. Hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Empty Tank. We'll be back next Tuesday. If the date changes, we'll let you know. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.
Green flag in the air on 2019.
Joe gets a huge run off the final corner.
They're spinning behind him, but the 21. Hey, Fluffy's going